working. I'm also happy to see you here and to welcome you at the final conference of the Landscape project, which is, as the Mr. from the Hebo municipality already said, it's sad at the same time for me, but at the same time I don't feel like it's the very end of the project, because we have been prolonged by 6 months. So we were actually supposed to finish in 2 weeks on the 12th of October, but we applied for a prolongation and we are now finishing in April. Still, this is a final conference because it has been planned way before to be the final conference, and it is sad, of course, too, because it is our last meeting of all of us, the last official meeting. So from this point of view, it's a finish of something, but then we have to think about some more non-related work, and not all of that is finished, which I will show you in my presentation, some of the results. And from my perspective as a coordinator of the whole project, and not from the singular partners, the singular pilot areas, which we'll present later, but from the overarching perspective. Again, this is some basic facts about our project, very short. It has been co-financed by the South-Baltic program of the European Union, with 1.2 million euro of the total budget divided into 8 partners from 4 different countries. And we have started in May 2011. And as I said, supposed to finish now, but now we are continuing. Some of our partners are continuing to April. Some of our partners, for example, the Scandinavian partners, are finishing this year already. These are our partners, an overview of the countries, and lead partner being the Eldon Highplain Landscape Park, together with the Turkmensko municipality. And in Lithuania, our partners are Klaipėda University and the Žemaitija National Park. Everybody is here today, so you will have a chance to talk to them and also to listen to their presentations. From Sweden, I think all of you know the partners. And from Denmark, we have the Slagelse Commune. And also with this foresee, I wrote we are more than just 8 partners. We are more supporting organizations and associations that are involved in our project, that have been involved in our project from the beginning. And in this place, I would like to thank all the representatives of these associations and these organizations who are here today, because your engagement has been not paid for, it has been voluntary, and we are very happy to have had you on board and happy to cooperate with you in future as well. Because these are the links to the European Landscape Conventions in almost each country except Denmark. Also, our project was supported by the European Network for Implementation of the Landscape Convention. We had a very engaged lady, Anna Trout, who has been following us for most of the project. Unfortunately, she doesn't work there anymore. And I got an email from the director of Reject apologizing that they cannot come to this meeting, but still they want to be informed and they are interested in our results. So the main aims of our project, which we wrote at the beginning and that we were following in the back of our minds, was the overarching goal, of course, the implementation of the European Landscape Convention in this very region through international cooperation and raised awareness of landscape values, and also highlighting this stakeholder perspective. And we did organize or focus our work around spatial planning, because this is the vehicle of the landscape planning, to updating and preparation of different spatial policies, spatial plans and analyses, and also tools like GIS maps and landscape visualizations. And our other goal was the creation of the South Baltic Landscape Forum Association. I'm going to tell you in very short words and a couple of slides only a summary of each of our 4 pilot projects. We had 4 pilot areas, in each of the countries one. And you will hear about them more, and I think more up-to-date also information later from the partners. But I would like to give you my perspective of a coordinator of the main achievements of this pilot projects. This is the first one in the area of Torkmicko in Poland. It's a high plain, as you can see. It's a mountain rising above the Vistula Lagoon. It's a unique landscape in this way, having beautiful nature and also beautiful views, as you can see here. And its main problem is the uncontrolled construction of this view and the open spaces. And our partners, the Torkmicko municipality and the landscape park, which is protected area which is situated in this municipality, their main activity was the preparation of the special development plan. And this has been achieved in 2 stages. First, they prepared for 2 of the parts of the municipality, but we saved a lot of money in the project. We realized that the services are cheaper than actually planned. So right now we extended this plan and it's going to cover the whole municipality of Torkmicko. And we'll have the plan will show areas which are forbidden for construction, which is something new in this area. The construction has been quite uncontrolled, and there has been at least 20 years of non-planning. So these are difficult conditions to work with, but we have a very good planning team, and together with the local community, I think it's going to be quite challenging work. What else did happen in this area was the architecture guide, because not only the construction is a problem, but also type of construction. Some of the houses are very out of style and well, not really coordinated. So there has been a guide of architecture designs that are recommended for this area. And also a lot of awareness raising work, very many meetings and events, also artistic events, many events for children. So there have been a lot of groundwork happening in this pilot area. Second pilot area in the Žemaitija National Park in Lithuania. Also a very valuable area. It's a biosphere reserve and in many ways very valuable from natural and also from cultural point of view. Our partners, the activities were quite similar, like in Poland. There was a lot of awareness raising, a lot of events. Also, touristic development is a big issue or a focus of work in this pilot area. And also there was a comparative guide on architecture allowed. The Klaipėda University cooperating here as well did have a seminar on wooden architecture in this area. And many GIS maps and visualizations have been done. And together the conclusions from this work on the pilot project, which will be implemented in the work on the Lithuanian landscape management strategy. So sub-national planning. Also my thanks here to the partners for intense and very engaged work. I mean to all of the partners. I will say just very short because we are here and tomorrow we'll have all day to listen about this. Pilot Area 3, Bomsenken. It's a part of a large, I would say, hydroengineering project between the Hebu and the Lund municipality. And what we do in the Landscape project, I would see as a compensation or some measures around this hydroengineering project. And they're all concentrated around the landscape analysis for the area. And various activities has been accomplished in the project, also impressive work of the colleagues here. Many moderated meetings and different activities for the stakeholders and different groups of the stakeholders. There have been exhibitions, professional websites, newsletters, very often released. And this contact with the stakeholders was very intensive here. So that was impressive. And at last there is the fourth pilot area in Denmark, which you can see here. It has a bit in common with the Polish area. It's directly to the seaside and has beautiful views on the sea. And what you can see there is an ancient Viking fortress of Trelleborg. So from the bird's perspective, you can see this beautiful open landscape. However, their problem was that on the ground there was a lot of overgrowth which was covering this view to the sea. And it was not wholly satisfactory landscape view. And this was a subject of many discussions with the landowners and kind of mediation between the needs of the agriculture and the landowners and the landscape. So also a very fascinating process of interaction and also lots of awareness raising. So what's in common? Maybe you're asking yourself what are the common points of all these pilot areas of the different countries, very different backgrounds, and as we have seen in the presentation before, the international cooperation is not always easy. The dialogue is difficult due to the different backgrounds that we have. But this was one of the goals of our project, actually, to initiate this dialogue in many cases and to facilitate transfer of experience. And in most of the times in our project, this happened from the north, from the Scandinavia, who the Sweden and Denmark have much longer traditions in public participation and local democracy than Poland and Lithuania, who are still learning this. So this was quite one-way communication, but I wouldn't say it was completely one-way. I think we all learned something from each other. And then another common point was the common methodology that we applied, with the help of the Linné University, who provided us with this methodology, and we worked it out together. Then another joint activity was a handbook of best practice, mainly written by Per, but with cooperation of other partners. And it just arrived, it's fresh. I would like you to recommend to grab a copy and take a closer look, and Per will also introduce it later. So this was an important part of our activity. And what is still to be done, actually, are the proposals of legislative improvements. This was also common for all partners. And about the joint methodology, really short summary, maybe it's a simplification of course it's a simplification of what we've done, but as a summary I can say we were working in 3 steps. The first step was creating a broad basis for our work, awareness raising. This was the first step. The second was collection of this, what we call the individual perception, in the understanding of the Landscape Convention. And the third step was planning, actual planning. In the real life, there would be the fourth step, implementation, but our project did not cover this yet. So in the first step, we had these meetings, and this was a considerable effort in our project. It took us more than the first 1 year. Very intensive meetings, lots of means, lots of time of our partners went to organization of these meetings. I think you can all confirm this. It's not that they stopped at this phase. We are continuing these meetings, but this was the first phase of the sort of awareness raising and contact, information meetings, activities for children, a lot of them. In the second step, we conducted questionnaires and also interviews, partly at the meetings as well, in order to assess the perspective or maybe to document, because we could talk with them and we could know already what they think, but this was a way of describing it in a quantitative way and qualitative way. And we have our colleagues here from the Linné University that will summarize the results of this process for you in one of the next presentations. And in the third step, this is the this is the idea of the methodology we had. That in the last step, we apply actually the results of this questionnaire and other results of the meetings with the stakeholders in an interactive planning process. This was the most challenging step because many different factors are involved, also political factors, economical factors, and it's not only easy talking with people, especially if there are conflicts, and there are usually conflicts in these areas. And this step is still ongoing. And as I said, that's why we have a prolongation, because in Poland and Lithuania this step will take a bit longer. And it's going to continue, of course, so it's not finishing with anyone. If I need to summarize on one slide, I would like to say that I am very happy with the results of the pilot areas. And cross-border cooperation was working very well in this project, better than I expected anyway. And we have published a very good publication, I think, this handbook. We have had 4 study trips, and I think one of them is still going to come. We had 5 international meetings, including this one. And over 70, 70 is an official date from the reports, but I suspect there were even more than 70 meetings with the stakeholders. And at least 1,300 people took part in our meetings. So I think it's a very impressive number to look at, and you could be all proud of yourself that you organized all this, because it was not only inviting these people, it was organizing, it was moderating the meetings, it was documenting the result. So really a lot of work. And we had, as far as I know, 861 questionnaires filled out and analyzed. So also a lot of work. And still what's going on until April, I would like to tell you, the landscape analysis will still go on, I think, beyond the project. But in Poland, the spatial plan should be finished by spring. The landscape strategy plan is still ongoing in Lithuania, and I think there will be one more study trip. And what we really have to work on now is policy recommendations. And the landscape forum associations, which I mentioned, the website will be upgraded, and we will constitute this association. So there is still something to do. I would like to invite you to our website. It's constantly changing, and we have big plans for the future with this website and with the forum. So I really hope that this is not our last meeting, and then we will cooperate in the future. Thank you very much.
So, any questions for Kasia? Any questions? I have one question. Since I believe you are the one with a holistic approach of the project, which are the one most important achievement of the group?
It was the most important issue. Achievement.
Result.
The most important result, I think it's the cooperation, and because I think this is what's going to last. The added value that we have. Otherwise, we could go on with our activities, and I think we would anyway if there was, supposing there would be no landscape. I think each of us will continue more or less the same activities, but this added value of the contacts that we have made and the cooperation that we have started will continue, and this is something which would not be possible without the European Union funding.